It's time for HawgSports Live from HawgSports.com, a division of 24/7 Sports, presented by Crain Automotive. The Crain Team's got 'em. Visit them online at crainteam.com. And now with the latest breaking updates on HawgSports, here's Trey Biddy.
What's up, everybody? Trey Biddy with HawgSports.com, HawgSports.com, where we're 75% off, by the way, right now, just for a few days. We're going to talk Arkansas coaching search today, and I'm actually going to give maybe a little bit more than I normally do, even though we do have the VIP subscription at HawgSports. But I'm just going to give everybody a little bit of a taste of some of the stuff that we've been hearing lately going on within the athletic department at Arkansas. And we're going to have Connor Goodson on to talk basketball as the season gets underway. And we'll talk a little bit about the Mississippi State loss as well, just overall state of the program. All that and more on today's episode of HawgSports Live. The Crain Automotive Team has 16 locations across our state and is home to the Crain Commitment. You'll find Ford, Chevy, Buick, GMC, Hyundai, Kia, Volkswagen, and access to thousands of pre-owned vehicles. Vehicles for every lifestyle and every budget. Even if you're not in the market for a vehicle, the Crain Team service centers offer the latest in vehicle diagnostic technology and certified technicians to take care of your vehicle, get you back on the road. Check them out at crainteam.com. HawgSports Live is driven by the Crain Automotive Team.
You've done it. Now you're the Crain Cash Champ. You just won big with the Crain Team. Go ahead, soak it up. How could you not feel like a winner? You dominated with our low price guarantee, and you got way more for your trade. Plus, with statewide delivery on thousands of vehicles from 16 locations, and the fact that we'll beat any other dealer's price, we make our Kansans feel like champions every day. That's winning. That's the Crain Team. Visit crainteam.com.
Arkansas and LSU kickoff time has been announced officially. The Hogs and Tigers will face off November 15th at 11:45 p.m. Central Standard Time on the Standard Time now in Baton Rouge on SEC Network. 69th meeting between the two teams. Don't say it. All right, looking back at Mississippi State and Arkansas, 38-35 final. I hate when coaches say this, but I do feel like going back and watching the game that Arkansas was the better team. I know I hate saying that, but I just felt like they dominated in basically every facet, except for some key moments at the end that they probably never should have been in because of some of the situations that happened with penalties and stuff. Now, I'm not saying that all these penalties weren't legit. And if you go back and watch the walk and talk, there's a couple of reasons. Got the search stash going still. There's a couple of reasons that I wasn't like pissed off and stuff, kind of like I was against the Auburn game. I was a little wiped out. First of all, we had a big Halloween party. I was up till like 2:30 cleaning up the night before. But I didn't want to go off half-cocked. I didn't want to go off like and say all this stuff was a problem, this with the officiating, this, that, whatever, without knowing, because I've got YouTube TV. I thought I'd be able to watch the game through my ESPN deal with Disney bundle deal, but apparently I couldn't. I usually watch the play and then TV catches up. I'm watching on my computer and I watch the play again, and I wasn't able to do that. So I was a little bit misinformed, but I did go back and obviously watch the game later. And it just some of the penalties. I don't know how you call. This is the first play of the third quarter. I don't know how you call roughing on the hit on Chapin if you don't call the one on Quincy. And I'm talking about the one where Quincy Rhodes just, kind of put his weight on him, drove him into the ground. It's roughing, but I don't know how you don't call that with the same thing on Talon later on in the game. 10:51 in the third. I don't know if that it was 5 men in the backfield. It was a running play. They had two wide receivers split out wide. Both of them were on the line of scrimmage. And I think maybe they were saying this guy was off the line of scrimmage, but I felt like he was on the line. And they came back the very next play in the exact same formation. And it wasn't called that time. But I felt like they had enough guys up on the line of scrimmage. I felt like this receiver was an ineligible receiver. I thought he was ineligible. Thought he was covered up. But they came back with the same play next time, the same formation, 6:39 in the third. I felt like they could have called Mississippi State. This is where some of the stuff is. Like, it's not so much the play the plays that Arkansas was hit with. Most of them legitimate, by the way, not all of them. Some of them a little ticky-tacky. Some of them I didn't think were penalties at all. But, like, I didn't feel like it was getting called both ways. I felt like that was a pretty excessive hit on the long Raylan Sharp run out of bounds. Like, he hits him in bounds. He continues to drive him out of bounds and takes him all the way to the ground, forcible, putting his body weight all over him. I felt like that could have been called. I felt like it was going the other way. It would have been called on Arkansas just based on the trend. I felt like all this started with Bobby Petrino getting hit with that personal foul. I don't know what he said, but all of it started at that moment, in my opinion. Well, I think in everybody's opinion. The 2-point try, they put their weight on Taylor. Now, here's where it gets interesting. So they throw the flag, not for anything that's happening on the field. They throw the flag on C.J. Brown. It wasn't on Larry Worth, as the announcers were saying. The announcers were very clueless on a lot of what was going on. But they threw the flag on C.J. Brown for coming off the bench. C.J. Brown was on the field. C.J. Brown was part of the play. He was on the field in the play. And I'm going to take you back a little bit later, if I can find where I wrote it down. 4:49 left in the third. They threw a flag on Mississippi State for their number 3 leaving the bench and coming onto the field. And then they sat there and reviewed it forever and then determined that he was actually in on the play. He was the man in motion on the play. And they picked the flag up. Just saying. So 6:14 left in the third. Lassiter, push out of bounds. Totally legitimate. He gave him an extra shove out of bounds. It should have been called. The Worth hit, that's targeting. That was absolutely warranted. Now, it's unfortunate that the quarterback also lowered his head, but they're going to call that. If the offensive guy lowers his head and the defensive guy lowers his head, they're going to call it. And it happened to strike him in the helmet when it probably wouldn't have, but Larry Worth's got to know that. I mentioned the irony of picking up the flag for the guy coming off the bench for Mississippi State. Ineligible downfield on Cash Courtney. That, I felt like he was right at 3 yards downfield, and that is barely ever called in the RPO world of college football. But right when he got to about exactly 3 yards downfield, they hit him with that. The face mask penalty, you have to call that. That was legitimate on the punt return. The late hit on Sorey, I don't know that was a late hit. I don't feel like he took like 2 steps. I felt like it was pretty bang. I don't know that is a legitimate late hit on the quarterback call. He didn't drive him into the ground. It wasn't excessive. Davila with 10:25. That was with 10:49 to go in the fourth, but 10:25 to go. Davila mugged that wide receiver, yes, but the ball was thrown well over 3 yards out of bounds, out of the back of the end zone, past the dash line, past the stripes, which is like a line like where media can't go past and cameramen aren't supposed to go past. It was dramatically, it should have been picked up. There's no question in my mind that was a terrible call by the officials. Carmona with 10:10 left. This is where the drive killers start. You get a holding penalty on a pancake block. I don't know how you call that a hold, but Carmona, I thought that was a great block. It was also, I remember watching, it was super late. I thought that was a bad call. On TV, let's see. Okay, so with 8:09 left, on Quincy Rhodes getting hit with that slamming the player to the ground. Actually, on TV, it didn't look as bad as it did in person. It's the problem with that play, and I'm not saying it wasn't legitimate and it shouldn't have been called. It could have gone probably either way, but the problem of it is that official did not blow his whistle. Quincy had driven this dude back like 7-10 yards, driven him back. This play, you have to blow the whistle. The dude's forward progress is done. So the play ends when the guy blows the whistle, and unfortunately, Quincy took him to the ground. Like, what's he supposed to do, though? I just thought that was a terrible job of officiating, not blowing that whistle. Roughing the kicker, legitimate with 5:13 to go in the game. That was legitimate. And I thought that was a pretty ticky-tacky holding call on tight end 83, Jaden Platt. Thought that was a pretty ticky-tacky holding call. In the same play, Green slides and takes a hit from the Mississippi State player. So that's what I think. I thought there was a lot of trash calls. I thought it was an overzealous attempt by the officiating crew to prove a point. Now, I felt like the fans really got behind everything. Really, I thought it was a pretty docile environment until the second half. I thought it was really calm until the second half when all those penalties started coming. And a lot of these came, like, we're talking about, like, within 7 minutes of the third quarter, so like halfway through the third to the fourth quarter is when the majority of these penalties started pouring in. It was just like all of a sudden. And part of them are on Arkansas, but there's a lot of them that's not. There's enough of them that's not, to me, to not make this the most penalized game in Arkansas football history in the 126 years of it. I think it's something that needs to be looked into. I've never seen an athletic director chase down an official after the game, but Hunter Yurachek did. And he was up in White Hat's face pointing at him. All right, let's see what Bobby Petrino has to say about it. It seems like the players really also battled through a lot of really tough calls in the game, 18 penalties and I think 193 yards, which is a school record.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on the number of penalties?
I can't say anything, but you ought to watch it. I do want to say something, but I can't. That's how they handcuff you. But I would just say watch the video, and the one thing I can say is they picked our quarterback up and souffled him, which is a really bad deal. They were back-breaking penalties. There's no question about that. But you got to overcome it. You still got to overcome that and get the first down and move the ball and eat the clock. So we weren't able to do that, and I had to put our defense back on the field, and that's a bad deal. And, we felt like we would be able to run the football and work the clock and end the game.
How much of the flags would you say were your players maybe wanting to show some physicality after a few scuffles?
Yeah, I don't know if that was any of it. I think you just got to watch them individually and see.
We've got a couple of weeks here to kind of think about coaching search stuff. I don't feel like I owe you an explanation for this mustache. We'll call it the Search Stash 2.0. But I'll just say yesterday was Halloween, and I thought Just for Men washed out I thought you could just kind of wash it out, and apparently you can. It doesn't wash out. And something else you can't wash out is what I did last week on our Bet Saracen wager wagon. If you want to download the Bet Saracen app, make a wager. You can use the promo code 1BIDDY125 and you can get 125 in bonuses for a $25 bet. Pretty sweet deal. Use the link below. Use promo code capital BIDDY125 all together. Use that promo code on your first bet, and you can get 125 in bonuses to spend. So pretty good deal from Bet Saracen. We went 1-4. We took it on the chin. It was our worst week, 1-4-1. We called the Hog game. I keep saying the royal we. It's the royal we. I called the Hog game. I hate saying it like that. It sounds awful and arrogant. But I was right. Sorry, I was right. It wasn't how I thought it would go, but I said 35-34 Mississippi State, Arkansas would find a way. Now, for all the stuff I talked about with the penalties and stuff, Arkansas gave up that final drive. There's 2 4th and 7s, or 2 4th. There was a 4th and 7. I can't remember what the other 4th down was, but it was 4th and long, and dude made, it was an underthrown ball. He made a great catch, and then, Davila missed on that tackle, and they go in and score, and then Arkansas couldn't get down in field goal range. I mean, the end of the game happened, and, there wasn't penalties. I don't think Arkansas should have been in that situation, but it just feels like Arkansas finds a way to lose. That's why I picked them to lose in that game. I think everybody on our staff did except for Danny. I think he was looking for a way to up his overall record. But we're 6-3 right now, picking Hog games against the spread this season. We're 26-22-3 overall. Maybe we should just stick to Hog games. So we took it on We've had a bad couple of weeks. We went 1-3 in week 9. We went 1-4-1 this past week. So that has really impacted our overall record. I had Oklahoma at Tennessee -3. I lost that one. Oklahoma won. I had Vanderbilt at +3. That was a push, 34-31. I had Georgia at -7. Georgia won 24-20, lost that one. Auburn was -11 at Kentucky. I don't know what I was thinking, but Auburn lost outright 10-3, and Hugh Freeze was fired. South Carolina, I had them +13. I still thought Ole Miss was going to win, and I've been picking against South Carolina all year long. And for some stupid reason, I thought that maybe there would be some kind of letdown thing, and I was wrong. I lost. South Carolina lost by 16, not 13. And, 30-14. Mississippi State, Arkansas. Mississippi State was +4 in that one, and we won that one outright. I had Arkansas losing 35-34, and they lost 38-35. So, Bet Saracen, Arkansas's #1 sports betting app. We do the Wager Wagon each Thursday, so tune in for that. Coaching search stuff. We're going to have Connor Goodson on here in about 15 minutes or so. Arkansas coaching search information, just like the title suggests. I usually don't give away everything that we have, and I'm not going to give everything away, but I'll just say I was informed on Friday that there was a big meeting going down in Fayetteville at 1 o'clock with several big-name boosters. I'm told Tyson wasn't there, Warren Stevens wasn't there, but several big-name boosters to discuss the state of the football program. And I'll lay the basics down for you. They need I've heard anywhere from 20 to 40 million. So I've also heard, 20 to 30, I've heard 30 to 40. So let's say $30 million over the next few years to get Arkansas in a situation where they are competitive. I had heard previously getting Arkansas from 8 to 10, somewhere around that range in spending from 14th. But the more recent stuff I heard was 5 to 8, somewhere in that range in spending. So that's where they apparently need to get. That doesn't include NIL. That's to get the football program at a state where it can be competitive. And if you don't think that that's important financially, then, look at Texas Tech. Texas Tech bought themselves a roster with a ton of money, had the #1 portal class in the country, and they're seeing the results of it. So that's been an issue with Arkansas. And you can point to whoever you want for the lack of fundraising, lack of support with Sam Pittman. You can point to Hunter Yurachek or whatever. But the bottom line is they need these people. They need these people to step up for them and donate money, or Arkansas football could be in trouble. One of the talks was about when the TV contracts and stuff are going to be renegotiated in 2030. Arkansas, just the message that I was hearing, Arkansas can't afford to be left behind. They can't. And I don't know if that's some idea around mega conference, restructuring all of college football. I think we see all this kind of stuff coming, but that is what the message is from Hunter Yurachek. It's like, we can't not do this. And so we'll see if they get it together. The stuff that I hear generally about Arkansas and the search is there's words like there's better support, we're going to have more money, we're going to have this, but there's no hard numbers being thrown out there to people, whereas with other coaching searches, they're hearing numbers. They're hearing what Arkansas, what they're going to pay. This was before basically all those people there were told that Hugh Freeze would be fired, that LSU, Florida are basically, and maybe Auburn too, I don't know, but are basically going to make Lane Kiffin turn down $12 million or plus. And there's talk that he might go to the pros. There's also some talk about Dave Van Horn and, being concerned that maybe he doesn't have all the resources he wants. And I think the consensus around this group was everything that they can do to keep Dave Van Horn has to be done. And I think all of you would agree with that. But that was a little bit of a concerning thing that I heard out of it. So John Tyson, as I mentioned, Warren Stevens. I've been told that Stevens, there's like a $10 million loyalty bonus coming towards Calipari after 5 years there. So these people support. Like and this isn't like, well, they don't have this money. Like, they have some of it committed already. But we're talking about $30 million or plus, more than that, more than what they have right now, just to be competitive over the next several years in football. Just to get back to where they're, and we haven't even talked about NIL. I hear James Franklin wants like $30 million in NIL. And I hear that Virginia Tech is, maybe a landing spot for him. But I also hear that don't expect James Franklin to hop on board with anybody on November 30th when the season ends. Expect him to see what opens, see what interest is, see how the dominoes fall a little bit. But Arkansas and James Franklin, there is what I'm told 100% communication there and interest there. What else do I want to give you guys? Again, you can sign up and read all this stuff. Like, we put out stuff pretty much every single day on this coaching search, what's going on behind the scenes. I've been told that there are, I don't know if I want to give that out. I don't know if I want to do that one. Yeah, you can read all this at HawgSports, HAWGsports.com. Sign up at 75% off right now. But there is a lot of information. I don't see this stuff coming out other places. Okay, I'll say this, like Mike Gundy wants a job, but I don't think that's realistic at all. Like with Gundy, like, fans just aren't going to get behind a guy that went 3-9 and 1-2. But I do know that Oklahoma State, when their decline started, is when NIL became a thing. And Gundy didn't embrace it, and then he did late. But like, I know for a fact there was an offensive lineman who was a backup at Arkansas, took a visit to Oklahoma State and was talking, like his NIL deal at Arkansas, he's a backup, was $50,000. Oklahoma State basically said, we don't have anybody starting for us making more than $50,000 on the offensive line. I mean, that just tells you where they were financially. Same deal kind of with Jeff Traylor, who also, I believe, I know that Jeff Traylor is going to have interest in Arkansas. He loves it here. And I love Jeff Traylor. I don't know that he's a legitimate candidate at 4-4, because people just see 4-4. They'll see 12-2, 11-3, 9-4, 7-6, 4-4 this year, steady decline. Again, coinciding with this NIL deal. He's working with about a tenth of the budget that like South Florida is working with, who they're playing this week. He kind of mentioned that in his press conference. But what I've been told is you're talking about 10 millions, versus $1 million, basically, for those G5 programs. The fact that he's winning any games against a team like Tulane, who they beat the dog crap out of weekend before last, 48-26, and John Sumrall, who a lot of people talk about, who I really like as a coach too. A lot of people are enamored with him. But the fact that they beat them with the budget that they have versus the budget Tulane has is actually pretty remarkable. But people aren't going to jump out of that. People aren't going to say, well, Barry Odom, he's 2-7 right now. Really want Barry Odom. Maybe if he was 10-3 at UNLV like he was last year. But I always say it's difficult to judge a coach based, and I'm not lobbying for any of these guys, so don't put that in my mouth. I'm just saying there are a lot of coaches out there who are good coaches, a lot of them. And a lot of them are really underfunded. And like with Odom's situation, I always say, like with the calendar the way it was last year, it is very difficult to build a competitive roster in year one. Now, things have changed a little bit this year to where you move the transfer portal to January and stuff. But last year, and that's one reason you saw so many teams hold off on firing coaches, because your roster gets decimated and you don't have an opportunity to get in the portal and bring guys in. You're just going to have a crappy roster 9 times out of 10 or better. Like Indiana's the only example, and he brought basically everybody from James Madison with him. So I think that's important to note. But I don't think people are just going to get on board with Barry Odom, who, to my knowledge, still has a house in Fayetteville. I was told that Petrino is likely a no-go maybe after this game. But before the game, I was told he was in. He was in consideration. And maybe that's still true. Yeah, I don't think I want to give much more away than that, but that's a pretty good bit of information. Then a lot of that, you probably haven't heard before. So if you want more of it, again, you don't need the promo code anymore. We took the promo code off. It's 75% off. You can go there, sign up for the annual, and you can get all of our coaching search information. We'll have more stuff tomorrow. I think it's worth it. Maybe you don't. That's fine. But I think if you're a diehard fan, you really want to know what's going on with Arkansas football and staying up to date on all this kind of stuff, then you should check us out. It's a pretty good deal. $250 a month. Breaks down to $250 a month. It's $30 for the entire year. I know who believes us. That's our friends at Walker Brothers. They believe in us. Walker Brothers brings you the finest men's clothing from around the world, carefully selected to last, fit right, and help you look your best. From game day essentials to distinguished luxury wear. From a meticulously fitted suit to the perfectly faded pair of jeans, every piece in their collection is hand-selected for enduring quality and iconic style. Experience that undeniable confidence that comes with perfecting your personal style. Visit them at 577 Millsap Road, Suite number 6 in Fayetteville, or their brand new location, 3503 South 55th Street, Suite 101 in Rogers. I was there, when was I there? Thursday. I was there this past Thursday. I picked up a bunch of stuff, got a new vest, got a new quarter zip, got a couple pairs of pants. I needed some warm weather. I needed some warm golf weather clothes. I can't quit playing. I try to get out. The one day I take off a week is Fridays. I don't fully take it off. Hell, I do radio still and other stuff in the morning before I go play, but that's the day off I try to take. And I still want to continue playing golf if I can until it's just unbearable outside. I got to keep the game going. Okay, basketball. We almost time for Connor? Yep, almost coming up on Connor. How to watch Arkansas Southern basketball. We've got number 14, Arkansas Razorbacks, 0-0 versus Southern Tigers, 0-0 out of the SWAC. Monday, November 3rd at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. This is on SEC Network. YouTube TV subscribers, you're SOL on this one till we get this thing resolved. I want to know what people think. Like, who's bad here? Is it Disney? Or is it YouTube? I kind of think it's probably Disney. I think it's Disney probably trying to monopolize everything. That's what I think. They're talking about two gigantic companies, I guess. Man, that game the other night, I know we talked about it a little bit, but I just felt like, well, this would be good for them. They're getting a message sent to them that they can't just roll the ball out there and win whoever they play against, or got some young guys. They'll get it together next game. They'll learn from this. It took about a third of a game, and then suddenly it's 40-something. The next thing you know, they outscore them 57-30 in the second half, a 13-0 run the final 2 minutes and 52 seconds. Memphis was 0 of their last 9 on field goals, while Arkansas went 8 of 8. I mean, that's how you finish a game off. I don't know how you take Malik Thomas out of the game. Like, how do you not start this guy? He was plus 32, but like, who do you take out? Wagner? He was plus 28. I mean, who do you take out? Carter Knox, plus 27. I mean, as John Calipari said, that first eight's pretty good. It's pretty good. Isaiah Sealy, he's 9. Yeah, I'm excited about this basketball season. I know Connor Goodson's real excited too. Let's go ahead and bring on Connor. Connor, if you're ready. So, let's see. How come you're not there? Oh, there you go. Here we go. Boom. All right. So, I'd like to tell you about our buddies over at Ozarks Go. This is the Ozarks Go hotline, of course. You can reach out to them at 479-684-4900. If you're looking for reliable internet service or you're displeased with your current provider, I just know that I've been very pleased in 4.5 years of using them. ozarksgo.net/hog. You can check them out online, find out if they're available in your area. If you call them, you're going to find somebody local because it is a local company. with exceptional customer service. They're not going to jack your rate up from year 1 to year 2 like you see all the time. Like, why is my bill suddenly outrageous? And several different tiers, several different options of the internet. I use the Gigabit Plus, which is 2,500 megabits per second, which is flying. This is running smooth right now for you on Ozarks Go. So check out our buddies at ozarksgo.net/hawg, HAWG, 479-684-4900. You'll be glad you did. Connor, how's it going? Wish you had Ozarks Go in your neighborhood.
Yeah, I do. I also wish I had a voice today because I'm going through it, man. So apologies to everyone listening and watching. My voice. I woke up this morning and felt like I got hit by a train, and my voice is shot. And
yeah, it's not as bad. I've heard Rick Schaefer go fight through entire 3 hours of radio with just dying. But you're not too bad. Are you allergies right now? Or you that something else?
I don't know. I think it's allergies and congestion. Like I felt pretty bad at points last week. I was like just not. I think that was allergies, but I felt good. Like I was at the game. I felt fine. Woke up yesterday and I felt a little under the weather, but rallied last night. Felt pretty good.
You coming up?
Bed. Do what?
Are you coming up for the game?
I would like to, but I mean, I
don't know.
I don't know.
You might maybe sit this one out. Maybe cover from home on this one.
Hey, that's the good thing. So I don't have YouTube TV or anything, so I'm good to go on SEC Network. And
shoot K Wood a text and maybe tell him you got to cover this one remotely.
I'll cite this if he doesn't believe me. Yeah.
So you've looked at the tail of the tape with this game, and obviously a bigger one coming up on Saturday instead of football. We'll have Arkansas at Michigan State. But what are your thoughts on this matchup with Southern out of the SWAC?
Well, Southern's a pretty good team. They finished with 20 wins last season in their second year under Kevin Johnson. This is his third season, and they return about 60% of their production from last season. Their guards, led by Michael Jacobs, I think that they have a really talented backcourt. Undersized compared to Arkansas's guards, which I think that matchup will be an area that Arkansas could really exploit and set the tone early, get into those guys. But really talented. That Jacobs kid that I mentioned, senior, averaged 11 points on 42% shooting from the field. Not really a 3-point threat, but Cam Ambery and Joe Manning are the other two guards that I'm really high on with this group. They shoot a combined like 40-something% from three last season. So they got some guys that can really pour it on if they get hot. But they're just undersized. Their tallest guy on this roster is 6'10", a transfer from UMass, Malik Abdel Gowod. I can't really say his name. He's originally from Egypt, but he's a big man, 6'2" or 6'10", 220. I think that this is a game where Arkansas's big men like Nick Pringle, Malik Ewan, Trevor Brazile, those guys could really kind of show out and have a bounce back, particularly Pringle, who just really struggled last week at Memphis, where he fouled out in 11 minutes. I think that this could be a game where he could just exert his will on some of these smaller guys and really kind of just have a bounce back game going into the Michigan State matchup.
As a millionaire living my best life, I'm giving $20,000 to the first 20 people who message me. Great. I've been hacked. Have you seen this? It comes on every single post I make. I don't know what people are doing, but some kind of way they're giving this person or these people access to their Twitter account, and they're getting it hijacked from them. I mean, do not message these people grace, whoever it is. But, I mean, it's legitimate Twitter accounts, and they're just one after another just getting snatched up by these people. But they always reply to my post.
Yeah, and it's like bot farms of just like it used to be like it was all like sexual nudity posts, like and now it's just like scams and
get my DM for pics.
Hey, if it's legit, maybe Arkansas should take up some of those offers on their social media.
Pics in profile. What did it always say? I haven't seen those in a while, but
I haven't either. But it's like or link in profile, and it sends you to like an OnlyFans or something, and it would be bad news.
It sounds like you know exactly what they send you. You got
I only know because I made a joke. I forgot what the tweet was, but it went semi-viral, I guess. Not really even viral, but it got a lot of traction one time because I made a joke about one of those links, like, "Oh wow," or I was just like saying, like, "Oh wow, I can't wait."
This sounds good.
Yeah, and so, yeah.
So, what do you think of this basketball team, Connor? This is going to be a special year.
I think it can be, man. I think that you look at just like you were talking about how you were saying this is going to be good for them to kind of get smacked in the face, a little bit of a wake up call those first 15 minutes, and then you look up and Arkansas wins going away, almost another 30 piece on Memphis after trailing by 15. Yeah, Calipari even talked about it. He was like, I was happy in that timeout. Like I was happy that we were. Because either we were going to figure it out or we were going to have a lot to work on. And either way, it was going to be good for them. I think that that's good. And just seeing them be able to bounce back and not have to, struggle for an entire game to where you take an L, that's big for a team, especially early on. I think that this game, you handle your business, you go into Michigan State with a lot of confidence. That'll be the first real test. And I'm really excited because I think that this team, not only are they special, but they can go into Breslin and really make a statement on Saturday. And I think that that's what I'm most excited about, is just having all of these marquee games on the slate and seeing them hopefully be able to make a lot of statements. A
lot of these games are put together, at a time when they, after the roster is assembled. Like, and I think you made the point that, like, you don't put this roster together unless you think you got the team to play it. Why does Ken Palm have them at 29 and Torvik has them at 17?
Yeah,
Bernardi has them as a 5 seed.
Yeah, they're being a little underrated coming into the season. There's they were picked 5th by the media at SEC Media Days in their preseason poll. I don't think that there's I think that having them at 2, 3, that range, understandable, but having them 5th in the league, I don't see that. I don't see there being 28 other teams better than this roster this season. I think that with Kim Palm and Torvik, a lot of those are just like stats centric, and Arkansas's and like analytical, metrics, different things like that. And Arkansas, the last few seasons really just hasn't been a good analytical numbers team. Like, last year they struggled a lot to put teams away convincingly. Like, there was times when they'd go into the locker room up single digits over really, really bad teams. And I think that trend with Calipari is still kind of carrying over to some of these lower expectations. But like we talked about, this slate, man, they have a lot of opportunities to really get some people to eat some crow early on.
Yeah. Well, I haven't seen a betting line for this game. Is there?
Yeah.
I looked on Bet Saracen earlier. I didn't see anything.
I didn't see one either. I glanced at Saracen like earlier this weekend, and I was just like, oh, they just don't have it up yet. And but
I think they had a bunch of prop bets up and stuff. But yeah, I didn't see any. Anyway, anything else you want to add, Connor? I want to let that voice rest.
Yeah,
warm salt water.
No, just really, really excited. We don't have any football, so we're going to be. I know Kevin said that he's going to have some baseball content. We're going to have a lot of basketball content this week. A lot to take away from this game. Looking ahead to Michigan State, it's going to be exciting. Even though I'm a little under the weather, it really can't rain on the parade that is Arkansas hoops and the expectations for this year.
Yeah. All right. If I were you, I would, unless you have some miraculous turnaround here in the next couple minutes, I would hit K-Wood up and let him know that you're under the weather today.
Yeah, I will do that, and my wife will be happy that I'm home and at least and can cover it. So, but yeah, I will. I will be in Bud Walton next week for Central Arkansas. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
All right, buddy. All right, everybody. That's Connor Goodson. You can follow him at Connor Goodson on X, HawgSports, lead basketball writer. Does a fantastic job for us. Okay. So, we're going to take your questions now. But first, I want to tell you this holiday season, shop for a meaningful gift that will last at Blakeman's Fine Jewelry, the official jeweler of the Arkansas Razorbacks. From exceptional diamonds and homeware to designer jewelry and timepieces from brands like David Yurman, Rolex, Tudor, Baccarat, and more. Enjoy a festive shopping experience both in-store at 3202 Pinnacle Hills Parkway in Rogers and from anywhere at BlakemansFineJewelry.com. Make your holidays unforgettable with Blakeman's. I would definitely recommend, if you haven't had a chance to stop by that store in Rogers, you got to check it out. I don't think there's anything like it in the state of Arkansas. Blakeman's been around since 1987 serving this area, but again, you can go online. Probably should put the Blakeman's ad up. There it is. You can go online and check our friends out over there and do a lot of shopping. They've got more than jewelry. They've got homeware. They've got like a list of things for like gifts under $1,500 if you wanted to go that way. You know, if you're looking for something bigger, they offer delivery also. You can get it delivered. So pretty sweet deal at Blakeman's there. Okay. I want to go with the questions. See what our people over at HawgSports are wanting to know today. Raw Hog says, give us a percentage chance on us getting Franklin. I'll say the percentage chance of there being contact and interest is 100. Percentage chance on getting Franklin, I would put at it's low. It's a low number. I mean, it's not better than 10. You'd have to, so to get for a guy like Franklin, not only do you need that 30, 40 million, which I've heard that those figures from several people now. Not only do you need that, you need about 30 million for NIL. I don't know if that includes rev share or not, but that's what I was told. They need 30 million to get a guy like Franklin. Army of Nabunga says, Tig Diggler, who Army's been on my butt lately. You've been on my butt. You've been in my comments. Hurt my feelings, Army. I thought we were buds. Tig Diggler says, what's the difference between a bean, a legume, and a beaner? I don't know the last part, but a bean is like grows on a plant. A legume is like a peanut, like a grass or something. Peanuts are legumes. That's why you see some people that are allergic to nuts, but they're not allergic to peanuts, or they're allergic to peanuts, but they're not allergic to tree nuts. I don't know the last part. I don't know. I hope that's not a slur. Jay Tersey said, is BP being considered for any other position? Any other HC position? Probably. I think Bobby Petrino really only works for Arkansas as a head coach, unless you're talking about maybe a lower level. I do think that there will be people interested in him as an offensive coordinator, but I think just with his past with Arkansas, how realistic is Cliff Kingsbury, says T.S. Smith 0628. I think there is, again, this would go under more rumor mill stuff versus what I was saying earlier, but I have heard that there is interest from Cliff Kingsbury to get back into the college game. We'll see, but that to me falls under rumor mill. That's the thing we do also at HawgSports. We do rumor mill. I always make sure to label okay, this comes from maybe an unverified source, or this is stuff that people are saying. Rumor mill. And there have been people sometimes, I heard on a radio show a few years ago where I clearly listed something rumor mill, and they were like, Trey Biddy saying this is what I hate, that, this or that. I had clearly labeled it rumor. We are supposed to be having fun with this coaching search. Damn it. It's all we got. Okay. So we're going to make sure that not only are we informative, but we're also entertaining. Unfortunately, I have a lot of experience running coaching searches at HawgSports. And that's something that I know that our fans want. They want to be entertained. They want this to end with a good outcome, but we also want to enjoy it, ride the roller coaster, highs and lows, all that kind of stuff. And so that's what we try to make sure is created at HawgSports. Reliable, consistent information, not just latching on to stuff, but also putting out some of the stuff that, people are saying. Fun stuff, rumor mill, but labeling it as such. So Cliff Kingsbury stuff to me right now is under that rumor mill. And I'll have people from, that are telling me stuff that may be from an unconfirmed source. I do certain things to confirm people, or I have a history with people There was a time a long time ago where somebody told me, hey, this is going to happen. Be there and, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And I was there. And to me, that was a very confirming moment for that particular source. Dillo55 says, when are we getting NIL answers? All I hear is we have to go off of what ifs. Yeah, there's a lot of what ifs. We need answers sooner rather than later. Honestly, should have had a hard yes or no answers yesterday. I think it's difficult to get, 15 millionaires together in a room on the same schedule, But I think there are people that have told me so what he presented to us was basically something that I've already been personally, shown with, a few twists and a few different things, so it's not like this is the first time all these people are hearing it. It's maybe the first time they're all hearing it together kind of deal. I've heard other things like people who are, big boosters trying to get other boosters involved to give, $250,000. Let's, from this group, let's try to get, this amount of money. So people are working. I don't know that they're going to reach this goal. By me telling you all this kind of stuff, I don't know that they're going to reach it. They're efforting to get there. They have some money committed already. I know they don't have 30 or 40 million committed in addition to what they have already. I mean, this is and this isn't NIL. This is through the Razorback Foundation. This is a separate deal trying to infuse money into the football. And it goes to everything. It goes to, travel, better travel experience. It goes to salaries, all that kind of stuff. You have to spend money in football. I mean, you just do. There's no way around that. You may hit, lightning in a bottle. You get a great quarterback and things just kind of go that way. That ball don't bounce straight up and down, as Houston Nutt says, and things go your way. But if you're going to be consistently good and put a good product out on the field, you're not going to do it without money. You're just not. And that's even separate than NIL stuff. It's insane, and I don't even know where it all comes from. But it's a lot of money. Army says, Video, who is the fastest member on your team in a foot race, and how much faster would Connor run if he took his backpack full of copies of the Communist Manifesto? What are you talking about? So the fastest guy on the team is probably going to be, if I had to guess, it would be our intern, Tyler Glasscock. I think it would probably be him because he's 20 years old. But if we're all the same age, if I could go back in time, because I'm 48, I'm not beating Glasscock probably. That came out interesting. I'm not beating him. But I would beat him, I think, if I was 20. I think I could take all of them if I was 20. I don't know how fast Connor is. Danny West played wide receiver at Ryzen. I was a linebacker, offensive lineman, defensive end. So yeah, right now, I'm the old man. I still have a 3-point contest coming up with Connor. That should be interesting. We have not done that yet. We were going to do it last year and we never did. Thorhog says, I saw on the Sunday Razorback coaching intel thread, you said that, I don't want to give that part away to the masses. If you had to guess, sorry, Thor, maybe I'll just come back and answer that on there. I don't want to put that out there. Hogboy 1987 says, is it as simple as get the finances in order and they can get who they want? There's going to be a lot of teams that have finances in order and finances already. Arkansas is trying to get to a point. I think there are a lot of teams that are just going to have that. Like LSU is going to be able to say, Lane Kiffin, here's $12 million and this much in NIL. We really want you to come here. Florida be able to do that. Arkansas, I don't think Arkansas is going to be paying $12 million, maybe 8, 9. $9 million right now gets you about 11th in the country in coaching salaries. That's big money. But it's not just about the head coach; it's about everybody. But no, I don't think it's just like they can go get who they want. But if they present like it's good, if they present a very like in this day in college football, it's not just about what's your access to talent. Like that is what has always hurt Arkansas. I don't care what anybody says. The facilities are there. The support from fans is there. Like, I don't know that they were like supporting with their pocketbooks as much. Like, and I don't mean to say that because fans are asked to do so much. It's absurd how much fans are asked to do because it's not just buying tickets. It's also contribute to NIL, support Razorback Foundation, all that kind of stuff. So I don't mean that, but the fan support is been there as far as passion from people wanting to win. And I've made the point before about how this is – I know this is a football school because of how pissed people get when they lose, how much activity we see, traffic for our content versus all the other sports combined. And, you know, there's a reason football is 74% of the revenue at Arkansas. So people want to win in football. People get more pissed about losing in football than anything else. But no, it's not. It doesn't just come down to that. I mean, it comes down to people also. There's going to be a lot of competition, but you should be able to get there. Guys, there are a lot of good coaches out there, and people will turn their nose up at a guy like PJ Fleck because, you know, they're not winning national championship, going to the college football playoffs. Like we had an argument with a guy today. It's like if they get PJ Fleck, they'll be right back where they started from. A well-funded PJ Fleck would do well at Arkansas. I'm sorry, he would. And I'm not saying that like that is like a guy that is necessarily on the list. I've heard some things, more rumor mill type stuff. But I think that there's definitely a possibility, like a guy like Fleck maybe feel like he's done about all he can at Minnesota. But nobody has ever won 11 games at Minnesota except for PJ Fleck. He's the best coach they have had since 1941. He's the only coach in Minnesota history to win back-to-back 9-win seasons. And he's not good enough. Like, if PJ Fleck isn't good enough for you, you're probably going to be really disappointed with the hire that's made. I'm just saying. Army of Nabunga said, Nabunga. Is that how you say it? I always just kind of like, I just call him Army. Biddy. What's the chances of Mel Lester's getting a, like, what? I'm not even sure what you're saying, Army. I'm not sure I can even take you seriously right now. Living Guy says Trey was this reffing job on Saturday as bad as job Mark Curls did against BP in 2009 against Florida Arkansas game to the rest. Just not like Bobby. So I didn't go to that game against Florida. I watched it on TV, but I mean, I made an ass out of myself in front of everybody that was there. I was screaming. I was so mad. I'll never forget Malcolm Shepard, that dude coming and trying to take a cheap shot at Malcolm Shepard. And Shepard just turns his eye at the last second and lowers his shoulder, and that dude goes on his ass. And Shepard gets called for a late hit. It was the biggest bunch of bullcrap I think I've ever seen. And I was livid. That whole game, the throw in the end zone where Arkansas defensive back is waiting on the ball. Tebow heaves it to the end zone. Arkansas D-back's there, and dude just takes him out and tackles him, and there's no call at all. And that's like a game-changing type of moment. It was the worst officiated game I think I've ever saw. In fact, on the headline and the cover story, the picture that I used was just stripes. I didn't use any action shot. I just put black and white stripes. That was our cover story. Burkus Maximus says, Trey, do you think we can get enough cash together and get a great coach and competitive NIL package? I don't see how it all happens without big money people just getting involved. I mean, and like if you want a coach like Franklin, you probably need a sponsor. Like you're getting with Tyson and Cal, and also Warren Stevens helping in a big way. So it just seems like a lot of money, but only to Arkansas. Like, doesn't seem like a lot of money to Texas A&M. Doesn't seem like a lot of money to LSU. Doesn't seem like a lot of money to Florida. You have to have your millionaires and billionaires support the football program, or you're going to get left behind. And Arkansas is in real danger, according to what I'm hearing. Like the 2030 number apparently is a scary date for Arkansas if they don't get their crap together from a financial standpoint. Burkus Maximus says, Trey, I think I just read that. Pittsburgh Squealer says, T. Hammer. What? What's your personal opinion on PJ Fleck? Great minds. I just talked about that a little bit. So I won't go over that again. Web Pigs Fly says, since it's been reported that Franklin wants a $30 million NIL budget, does that mean we're prepared to offer an NIL budget that range? I mean, I think you'd have to also say, like, hey guys, we can get James Franklin. We can get him. And I think that would probably help boost that. Like, he will come if we have this. The problem with that, I think there's going to be other schools that say, hey, James, we have this. Not like we can get it, but we have it. Was that part of a fundraising goal discussed at the booster meeting Saturday before the game? I don't know that part was discussed there. I got that from a totally different source, who's a very good source. A source that told me Bobby Petrino was going to be offensive coordinator at Arkansas, and I just said, yeah, whatever. That ain't happening. Should have trusted him better. What do you believe Petrino could accomplish with $30 million NIL budget, and how many corrupt SEC officials would it take to keep us out of the playoffs? Yeah, it only takes 8. Well, I would say this. Bobby Petrino and a $30 million budget. Like, here's the thing. Like, people they have some idea that a coach has got to be, this or that and have this kind of record. But, guys, there are, again, a lot of coaches out there who are good coaches who would do very well with big money. There just are. There are a lot of coaches out there who are bad coaches who would do poorly even though they have big money. But, yeah, Petrino with $30 million would probably be fine. It's just about perception and are people going to get behind and all. And I still see people saying Bobby's our guy, Bobby's the guy in the comments of YouTube, even after, all these losses that they've had. Well, they've had Tennessee, Texas A&M, Auburn, and Mississippi State now, 4 losses under Petrino. Whiskey Drunk says, why should anyone care anymore? Whiskey Junk is dejected. I think he feels like Dillingham is off the table, and he's kind of been working those angles. There's no question. Whiskey's very passionate. Like, if we had more people like Whiskey, like doing almost getting arrested. Whiskey started the Arizona and Phoenix, I believe, no, it was Arizona and Las Vegas Razorback Club, and was removed from that position that he founded. I bet that club's not doing jack crap right now. He was removed from it because he had a great weekend at the Cotton Bowl in 2012, January 2012. But he put all that together, and he's been trying to work angles, trying to find a way to, get this to happen, get this interest going, see if it's a possibility. I'm just saying, you're a little crazy, Keith. I love you. But if more people were like that and active and aggressive, but I think he's a little dejected right now. Hogboy 1987 says, is the $30 million Franklin is requesting a yearly figure he wants? I was just told that's what he needs. That's what he feels he needs. But yeah. And I assume that's encompassed with, I would hope it's in with revenue sharing. The way it was put to me. And it was sent via text. So I didn't get a chance to, should have maybe I'll get some more clarification on that, but surely to God, that's with rev share. But yeah, 30 million, that's a year. No question. What did we do as a collective fan base to deserve the kind of heartbreaking loss we experience week after week, year after year? Look at me. It's not your fault. Okay. It's not your fault. This is, a lack of embracing what should have been embraced in 2021 that would have helped. But Arkansas is not a rich state, and Arkansas probably should have done a better job at going after Lane Kiffin, and probably should have done it maybe. It'd been nice if they'd done it a year earlier, because when they went after him, Ole Miss also went after him. If you guys remember, this is what changed everything. Ole Miss probably doesn't even fire what's his name before. That's who the coach was. What's his name? I can see his face. He went to Georgia, I think, after that. But they lose to Mississippi State that year because that dude peed on the pylon. He did the dog pee thing, and they got a personal foul, and it ended up basically some kind of way costing them that game, and then dude gets fired. And next thing you know, Ole Miss is on the hunt for a new coach, just like Arkansas. Remember that guy trying to pee on that, acting like he was a dog peeing on the pylon? A guy acting like a dog peeing on the pylon is why Lane Kiffin is at Ole Miss right now instead of Arkansas, probably. I've laid out all kinds of crazy scenarios also with even why Arkansas is responsible for setting things in motion that ended up with Chad Morris at Arkansas in the first place. Frank Broyles forces Gus Malzahn on Houston Nutt, who he never wanted to hire. Houston has some success. He tells Malzahn, hey, I can bring in a guy from the NFL. It's David Lee, and be a co-coordinator thing. Malzahn doesn't like it. He goes to Tulsa, has success there. He leaves Tulsa for Auburn to be offensive coordinator there, recommends to the coach at Tulsa that he go after Chad Morris, who Chad Morris and Malzahn had some connection because they're both high school coaches, and Morris adopted a lot of his philosophies from Malzahn. Malzahn goes from Auburn offensive coordinator to Arkansas State for a year, leaves Arkansas State to become the head coach at Auburn, is a thorn in Arkansas' side. Meanwhile, Chad Morris takes that job at Tulsa and parlays it into the Clemson offensive coordinator job. They have success there. He leaves there and takes the SMU job, ends up at Arkansas as the head coach, arguably, I don't know if it's an argument, the worst head football coach in SEC history. All started with that. Malzahn then pushed on Houston Nutt. Frank Broyles did a lot of great things, but that was not one of them. Hog2083 says, would you rather Hunter Yurachek or Jeff Long lead this coaching search? I think Hunter. I think I would rather have Hunter. Pig22 says, which of our oligarchs are going to come to the rescue? We need one of them. We need a couple of them. We need a lot of people. The Stevens, the Georges, the Tysons, so on and so. There's a lot of people out there that, not necessarily those names, but, the Waltons, obviously. But, who are they seeing in Eugene, Oregon, says Weiner, Hog 45. I mean, the Dan Lanning stuff, somebody asked, where's that coming from? I was just out of somebody's ass, I would imagine. That is just ridiculous. I would think maybe Will Stein, the Oregon offensive coordinator, would be somebody that we'd be talking about there. He's a younger guy, but there are a couple of coordinators that are, being talked to also. Basin Hog 411 says, why is middle of the pack our ceiling when it comes to money, and how the hell did the administration let us get here? I don't know, but there is a failure in leadership that probably cycles back a long time ago. Arkansas has always been asked to do more with less. They always have been. But the last talk I heard was this is to get Arkansas to 5 to 8, somewhere in that range, 5 to 8. But Kiffin, they went cheap. So I'll say this. So this house that I bought 4.5 years, almost 5 years ago, 4.5 years ago, this house that I bought has doubled. And all the houses in this region are twice as expensive now as they were 5 years ago. So when Lane Kiffin went to Ole Miss, he was not a $9 million coach, right? He was a very well-paid coach, but he wasn't a $9 million coach. He took them to being a $9 million coach because he had success. Ole Miss went out and spent money, a good salary, and got a good coach, and then he had success and took him. So Arkansas is not just going to go suddenly just like, hey, we're top 3. We're going to spend top 3 money now, like just out of the blue. No, they're going to have to hire somebody who has success. And then from there, if he has success, then you get more support, more spending, all that kind of stuff. So it's not just something that happens overnight. Sometimes I think about the people who bought this house, and this maybe coincides. There were 6 offers on this house, and after one weekend, and we got very lucky and bid a little bit more than the next highest person. And sometimes I even felt bad about those people, because I'm sure they went to bed thinking about how they were going to decorate and put furniture everywhere. But I wonder if those people knew when they bid on the house that 5 years later it's going to be twice as much. And that's the same deal with Kiffin. If Arkansas had known, maybe they should have known, that 5 years from now Lane Kiffin is going to be worth twice as much. Maybe they would have offered a little bit more. It's a hell of a metaphor that I just did right there. Ring the bell. Where's the bell? I don't have one. Trey, what's your top 3 choices now that Auburn has let go Freeze, giving new information you have learned shared this morning? My top 3 choices, realistic choices? Well, I would say that I would take James Franklin in an absolute heartbeat. I don't know how realistic that is. That would take everything coming together, in my opinion. I would take PJ Fleck. No question about it. I would take PJ Fleck because I know that he would win. I don't know that he's like going to win at the highest level, but he's going to win. And I don't have any doubt about that. I also think that, and I have not gotten this from anybody close to Lindsey's or anything like that. And I talked to some people who, have some information like that, but I've not heard anything that Fleck and Arkansas is a scenario with the Lindsey's or something where they're going to get Drake back to Arkansas and all that kind of stuff. I don't think there's any truth to that, really. I think it's just Arkansas being interested in PJ Fleck. But Fleck would be up there. I really like Sumrall. I'll say this too, man. Like, Jeff Traylor's not getting this job most likely, but the fact that he could even beat Tulane, first of all, but not to mention beat them the way that they did when the salaries of those rosters are so vastly different, is borderline miracle. It really is. And I like Jeff, and I'll always pull for Jeff Traylor because I think he's a solid dude. But I don't think that's happening. But Sumrall would be up there. Golish would be up there for me. Eric Morris would be up there. I think Eric Morris does a great job evaluating quarterbacks. Some of those may be viewed as riskier hires. But, I don't know. If you can't get behind some of those guys, Silverfield at Memphis even, if you can't get behind some of those guys, then I don't know, who is the guy out there that you think is going to satisfy everyone as a coach? Who's the guy? Because everybody that gets put out there is people just I don't want him. I don't like that. I don't want him, It's not as important who they hire. It is important. I don't misconstrue that. It is important who they hire. It is equally important that they get the money where it needs to be, supporting the program, NIL, those things. You have to be funded. Again, I point to Texas Tech. Arkansas easily beat them last year. Wasn't a problem. Texas Tech would walk Arkansas up and down the field this year. They have got a team now, and they bought it because their boosters said, you know what? Wild Wild West is coming to an end. We got one more crack at this. Let's buy us a football team and let's take things to the next level. And they did. And look at them now. And they were also smart because they did multi-year contracts on some of those guys from what I hear. And so all that gets grandfathered in. So they'll probably be good next year too. All right. Sign up at HawgSports, guys. If you like what we do here, we're making it easy as hell to sign up. If you want to stop perusing around and sifting through social media and get unreliable, ridiculous information, go to HawgSports HAWG Sports. Sign up for 75% off. It's a great deal. It's $30 for the entire year. I know that, times may be tough sometimes, but hell, that's $2.50 a month, $2.50 a month. And you can go to HawgSports and check it all out. Why would you not do that? If you're a Razorback fan, I just don't. I see what else is out there, and some of it's ridiculous, and I'm not harping on anything. I don't mean that any kind of way. But if you want like reliable, consistent information, we're providing, and we've got posters on our board too who have great information. So sign up at HawgSports. It's $30. I'm sorry to make you pay. We got to make a living. We got to run commercials. Somebody's got to do this. Somebody's got to pay for this just for men on the search stash. All right. Appreciate you. Thanks for Connor Goodson hopping on with us, even though he's under the weather. And thanks to all of you for joining us for today's show. We've got almost 3,000 people watching right now. So appreciate everybody making it popular. Thanks to all of our sponsors, of course. Couldn't do this show without them. Go check out Crain Team Automotive, crainteam.com. They have 5,869 vehicles. Ford, Chevy, Buick, GMC, Hyundai, Kia, Volkswagen, Chrysler. They got you hooked up right there. And tons of pre-owned vehicles. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining me. That's the show today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want more in-depth information and more information to come, go to HawgSports.com and check us out. And we'll be back with you guys on Thursday. It's no primer show this week, so I don't know what to call it since we called this the early November coaching search show. So help me think of a name, maybe just the search stash show. I don't know if I'm going to have this long. Like, my daughter hates it. My wife's like, I kind of like it, but I think it looks, I don't know. What did my dad send me? My dad sent me a message on it because he saw it. He's told me this since I was a child. My dad's never been in on facial hair. 11th commandment, thou shalt not cultivate around thy mouth what grows wild around thy ass. Dad turned 80 years old a month ago. Still going strong. All right, everybody. Appreciate you joining me. This has been Trey Biddy with HawgSports.com. Another long outro. We'll catch you next time.